Hey everyone, how's it going? Joe back, doing a pod on last night's pod. Sounds so lame. Podcast, I'll say, on last night's NHL action. We had only two games, so I get to go easy on myself here. Um, yeah, let's get right into it. Lightning. I expected a lot better, especially in the series and in elimination games such as this. Let's start with how disappointing Mikhail Sergachev was. We were all really excited to see him come back, and obviously, um, we saw the same thing for Rasmus Sandin and Nick Jensen in the Capitals game. So, I think Bruins are considering bringing back Forbert tonight. Not a good trend. Not a good trend, guys. So let's not do that. So Sergachev, he turned it over early for Vehegi and Kachuk in the very beginning of the game. Maybe 3 minutes in, probably less. Vasilevsky had their number. Finally he makes the save on Verhage. Am I right? But we'll see how that. We'll see how that ages. Tampa power play weak, not all there. It allows a great chance for Reinhardt. He was digging in and out of the defense in order to get there. And right after that, maybe a few minutes later, Sorelli gets a goal and it gets overturned again. That is his third or fourth overturned goal of the series, I'm pretty sure. Um, and if not, then he got a bunch of goals overturned coming into the series. So Sorelli continues to get screwed, and so does Tampa because Verhage comes in and scores off his own rebound. So good job for Verhage coming in, not giving up on that puck. Usually you shoot it and you look to the sky. He saw it land right back kind of in front of him. He moves his way around a defenseman, shoots, and scores. Tampa after that got pretty dang mad. They had a lot of pressure. They were forcing Florida to play in their own end, forcing long shifts. Bobrovsky stayed on top of his game. But the thing was, they kept giving up odd man rushes, and that's not something that we expect from Tampa. Tampa's always been a very solid group, not giving up too many chances and such like stuff like that. Obviously their defensive core, Sergachev, Hedman, Chernak, is very, very good. They haven't been known to do stuff like this, but they keep giving up odd man rushes, and Vasi has to be on his game. Um, let's talk about our stars here for the offense. Stamkos, Point, and Kucherov. No shots on goal in the first half of the game. I just don't know. Stamkos finally doesn't score this game. It's the first game he doesn't score the whole series. Kucherov didn't score the entire series. He got a couple of assists. You need to be better. And now, I mean, now it's too late, but you needed to be better. And it comes a lot onto those star players. Not Stamkos. Stamkos was very, very good, except for this game, of course. But Kucherov was not at all there. He wasn't good at all. Point was all right. Sorelli was all right. He just got screwed a couple times. Hagel was good. Duclair was not the scoring presence that we thought he might be because of how he performed after the trade deadline. Just all around could have been a better effort from most of the Tampa forwards, and obviously some weak defense to give up that many goals. But you're going against the Florida Panthers. I mean, I I am not surprised that they got it was a high scoring affair on their end of the ice. I'm just disappointed that Tampa couldn't counteract that. And yep, there we go. Panthers force offensive short-handed face-off, and if I recall, who shoots it in? Was it Ekblad? Ekblad shoots it in, and Barkov puts it in. So that's cool. We haven't seen the Ekblad Barkov duo, which has been in Florida for so long, do much this series. And those are the guys I really like from Florida, Barkov and Ekblad. So I'm really glad to see them start to do something. I would like to see them be a big part of winning the cup. Kachuk, I could care less about. A lot of the new additions. I guess Reinhardt would be kind of cool, but like Montour, Mikola, I would like to see Ekblad and Barkov do their part to win a Stanley Cup. I think that'd be very, very cool. Um, let's see. Panthers, yep. So Tampa gets a power play. They aren't able to score on it, but they score right after it ends. Hedman from the blue line, and it was a rip. It was definitely over 100 miles an hour. Crazy shot. But there was no one even remotely in the way to screen or block. So they just let that one in. That was poor defense from Florida, not something we're going to see continue. So no need to worry if you're a Florida fan. I feel Verhage was so close for another goal on the backhand. He came in on a breakaway. Could you believe it? They gave up a breakaway. Verhage comes in, Vasilevsky stones him, and then Verhage does like he hits the left trigger, to spin around and tries to get the backhander in past Vasilevsky. He's not able to do it, but he was very close, and that would have been a gnarly goal. Gnarly. And then guess what? Sergachev scores. It's taken, or I'm sorry, it wasn't even taken off. It was just called a no goal. I have an uncle who's a Tampa fan, and he's like, "Oh, Tampa always gets screwed by these calls." And I'm like, "Yeah, everyone says that. They are getting screwed by these calls." That was a 50-50 call, I think. Oh, did I mention it was Sorelli? Did I mention it was Sorelli getting screwed again? Mikula is pressuring him into Bobrovsky, and he kind of turns into Bobrovsky. Does like a 316, maybe whacks him a little bit. I think if they called that a goal on the ice, they wouldn't overturn it. But because they didn't call it a goal, they weren't able to call it a goal. I just think whatever the call was, there wasn't enough evidence either way to overturn it. So I think that's the unfortunate part for Tampa. I'm you usually, I'd say 90% of situations they would call that a goal and then look at it. But yeah, and Cooper challenged. I don't think this was a good idea for Cooper challenge. I think we could all tell that there was clear goalie interference, but was it caused by Mikula? And there wasn't enough evidence. So bad Cooper challenge. He's 5 for 10 on the regular season and over 2 in this series. I'm thinking it's because he felt it was a last resort to get his team on the board again. They were down 2-1. But I mean, you're still in the second period, so I don't think you need to go last resorting quite yet. So I think that's a bad job by Cooper. And on the power play, or at least it's on the power play. No, okay, this is after the fact. The power play was pointless. And then Verhage, while they're pressuring, creates another turnover. Barkov and Tkachuk are there, and they're both in front of the net. And guess who else is there? Sergachev, not even, I don't even think his stick was on the damn ice. So I think Barkov was there for a backhander, and Tkachuk was there for a normal wrister, and it goes right to Barkov, and he gets the goal. And I am once again very disappointed in Sergachev, and I hate to say it. It pains me. And then let's talk about the Rodriguez goal. They get another goal. It was a 2-on-2. Tampa defense. I forget who it was. One was on Rodriguez and one was on Stenlund. Stenlund is able to pass with this defense on the interior. He's able to pass it to Rodriguez, who scores. Great goal from Rodriguez. Great pass. Not really too much of a chance for Vasilevsky to do anything about it. But oh my god. Poke check the puck, guys. What are we doing? It was very frustrating. I've noticed in all of these elimination games so far, NBA and NHL, there's just some frustrating aspects to it in terms of the team's defense, whether it be the Washington discipline, whether it be Pelicans. I'm not even their defense actually, just offense. They're not even allowing. They're not even scoring. Anyways, yeah, no, that was horrible defense. Good positioning, but you didn't even attempt to poke check it, so you don't get a buy on that. And then of course, Verhage is the one who gets the empty netter, puts a bow on the whole thing. Barkov and Verhage had 2 goals and an assist each. Um, Not for a lack of trying from Victor Hedman, who had 6 shots on net. Stamkos had 9 hits, so good physical presence there by Stamkos. Um, for Hage, dude, the Panthers though, for Hagee had 8 shots. For Hagee, why does he hate Lightning so much? They did pretty well by him. They won him a cup. But he hates him apparently. But judging by this crap, 8 shots to Chuck 6, Reinhardt 5, Barkov 4. And then Ekblad and Rodriguez also had 7 hits. So yeah, they were outplayed heavily again. And here's the thing: is Tampa provided the most pressure, but they gave up so many odd man chances. It just wasn't even remotely like it was just awful. It ruined all of the pressure that they were providing. Um, Tampa next year. I so when they signed, I think they signed Sorelli, Paul, Sergachev, I'm sure they signed a lot of guys long term, and I said this is the beginning of the end for Tampa. I think this was after they lost to Colorado. They signed these guys, 8 years each, like a bunch of money, and I said these guys are going to be in their mid 30s when these deals are done. Is the beginning of the end, and how right I was. Two first round exits for Tampa, once to the Leafs last year, and to the Panthers this year, and they barely squeaked in as a wild card team this year. Well, okay, they didn't squeak in, but they were a wild card team. Um, I'm thinking Stamkos stays. So let's talk about our free agents. Stamkos is a free agent. Everyone's like, "Oh, where's Stamkos gonna end up?" He's gonna end up at Tampa. I will be so shocked if he leaves. Obviously, I said the same about Gensel. I think this is a little different. I think Stamkos stays. Duclair, I think he's gone, living that nomad life. Tyler Mott, he's probably gone. Not a big loss there. Chafee, I feel like he started to come into his own. Maybe they'll resign Chafee, and then Dumba was also a rental similar to Duclair. So that's still not a lot of money to sign new players. And if this group couldn't get it done like that, I don't see them. We'll see. A lot can happen, but I'm not sure they'll be able to make the playoffs next year. Stamkos has proven that he's still worth a lot of money. Do I think he'll take a discount in Tampa? 100 million, 10%. He is a class act like that. I really like Steven Stamkos. He did stay on the ice a little extra long, which maybe made me a little sus. He was waiting for Hedman, I'm pretty sure, so he was the last one off the ice, and it looked like he was taking it in. Um, looks can be deceiving sometimes. So like I said, I don't think he's going anywhere, but we'll see because I've been wrong before. But yeah, I think Tampa is they have to be in rebuild mode, but I don't think they can. I think this was officially the window shut for Tampa. I mean, they're still gonna have this core for a while, but the core isn't the same. Um, I don't know. Just because Kucherov didn't show up, I don't, and they had the first tough round match. I don't know. It's interesting what's going on in Tampa, but for the most part, they're stuck with what they got. So when it comes to offseason moves, Tampa really isn't gonna see too much action unless some real crazy crap happens. Like I'm not sure. I don't think they should make any trades. I think they lost their first round pick to in the Duclair trade. Maybe I forget. Let me just check their roster real quick. Um, yeah, there isn't really anyone here I would trade. Maybe Tanner Gino. I don't really like Gino. Maybe get rid of Gino. I'm not sure. To get a backup goalie. Vasilevsky's also getting old. I think they signed him to a monster contract. He can't keep starting every game, so they're gonna have to figure out what to do with Vasilevsky. Obviously keep him. Obviously keep him. Just get him some help. Please, just get one of the Detroit's goalies. You have Alex Lyon there. You got James Reimer. You got Ville Husso. They are loaded at backup goalie in Detroit. So I don't know. Toss out Tanner Jeannot and get like a second round pick and one of those goalies. I don't know. I feel like that'd be close to fair. Don't mind if I take a lollipop. I'm not a lollipop for so long. All right, let's talk about the game that went well. The world will never know. Oh my God, sticky. Well, this hurts going down. All right, let's talk about the Dallas game. Um, early pressure from both teams. And then Amadio almost immediately gets it in. I'm sorry, not immediately. Maybe like actually more so like 15 minutes in. Onger almost had it. It was really close. It went like between his leg and his hand, and he like held it, but then it trickled in. That would have been a really nice save from Jake Ottinger, who actually had a very good night. So I did mention a potential for a goalie battle here. I said I didn't think Ottinger was going to end up bringing it because I saw zero signs of it in the first two games. Looks like he's bringing it. So, yeah. Shout out to Miro Hitzkinen. There was a really great play that he had where they got it in really close to the net. Ottinger makes a save and there's a chance for a rebound, but while the puck's in like midair, he bats it down the ice. I think it was on goal too, so it wasn't even icing, but just the awareness to whack it out of the sky like a baseball. Very, very good play by Miro there, top defenseman there. Um, let's talk about the Dadonov goal. So Evgeny Dadonov, the torturous man, he banks it off the back of Thompson's head and into the net, and it looked like it hurt. So it was injury to insult, I would say. I really hope that he was aiming for like his backer because what was I gonna say? He was at an impossible angle. There was no way he would get it into the net unless it bounced off of something or someone. I really hope he was aiming for Thompson's back. Head would be dirty, but there's no evidence to prove anything otherwise. So I think that was the end of the first 1-1. There were 32 hits in that period. I don't know about you, but I didn't expect this to be the heavy hitting series. I expected something like the Florida or something in the Atlantic, really, to be the one where like the most hits were happening. But this was a crazy hitting first period. Um, oh, and then, damn. Ottinger has a great save on Barbashev. It is so good. It's the Eichel line buzzing again. He gets it from Marchessault, and on the weak side, he makes a. I think he like swats it with the glove when he was out of position. Great save, and no one's talking about it because Dallas brings it up the ice, and Eichel brings it back in and scores. Well, Marchessault brings it in, and then so Ottinger after making that save gets beaten twice because Marchessault beats him and hits the post, and then it goes to Eichel's stick, and Eichel puts it in. So 2-1 Knights. Yeah, you hate to see it. Let's talk about someone who stayed off the score sheet. As far as significance, I don't know if they got like a backup goal or I'm sorry, a backup goal, a secondary assist. Do I even know hockey? But Sagan, you could just tell when he was out there, he was ready, he was open. Pucks weren't really going his way, especially like they were in Game 3. But Sagan, he was someone they had to watch. He just always seemed to find himself in an open position or with a great shooting lane. I think the Stars need to get it to Sagan more. He's creating these chances for himself. We'll have to see if he's able to finish on them because he did have a couple breakaways he didn't score on, although they were created by him, so you got to give him credit there. But yeah, I want to see a little more Sagan in this series. He has been looking like he knows what he wants to do. Speaking of players we need to see more of, Matt Duchene. I love Matt Duchene. I really do. He had a really nice pass from the slot to Johnston on the power play to keep Johnston hot. 2-2 game. Johnston, damn. So Duchene, I really like Matt Duchene. I want him to do well. I'd love to see him win a cup. Um, and he has been really silent this series, so it's good to see him get on the board. It's good to see Wyatt Johnston stay hot. Robertson has kind of died down, and Johnston pick up his slack since the first two games. So hopefully both of those guys can bring it on whenever the hell they play next, and light the lamp quite a bit in Dallas because the series is going back to Dallas Tide. They got home ice back. So, whew, wow. Let's talk about the Ben line. Ben has this crazy keeping on the blue line where he's like surrounded by knights getting it out, but he manages to beat them in the puck battles. He gets it to Pavelski, and Pavelski just misses the net. We haven't heard anything from Pavelski this series. Been kind of disappointing. Obviously, he's I think top five oldest players in the league at this point. That makes me feel old. Um, but he hasn't really been doing much. So this might be one of the last rides we see for Pavelski. That given that he hasn't really been able to. I think he had decent stats in the regular season, but two different sports. He needs to show up in the postseason, and he really hasn't. Um, however, we got a goal from the fourth line. All the lines for Dallas were buzzing. That's the difference between Vegas and Dallas the last couple games. The lines for Dallas have been extraordinary, and what was I going to say? The lines for Vegas have been lesser, with the exception of the Eichel line. The Eichel line has been doing everything for them. It's definitely the best line on the ice for either team, but Yeah. Um, Other than that, every single shift for the Stars around this point in the game was insane, and it's the fourth line that gets it in. DeAndrea takes a shot from Craig Smith, my guy, and it goes in the net. Craig Smith was the first Bruin I ever met, and he was a very nice guy, and we took a photo. So, Craig Smith will always have my back. I think he was a healthy scratch to start the series. Not sure who he's in for. But good job, Craig Smith. I would really like to see you do well. I think that you're pretty dang underrated. Even when you were on the Bruins, I didn't want you to be a scratch, and I am talking about that 22-23 team where our depth was crazy. I wanted Craig Smith in there. So that should tell you all you need to know about Craig Smith, in my opinion. He should be a bottom line. I'm not saying bump him all the way up. I'm just saying put him on the bottom line. I think he'll do good. Maybe with Duchesne. Duchesne's a great playmaker. And Craig Smith is a good sniper. We'll see. But yep. Then Rope Hintz finally does something. Hintz has been silent. Hintz has definitely been the best. The best player for Dallas that hasn't been good in the playoffs. Other than maybe Pavelski, but Pavelski has an excuse. He old. Hintz has no excuse. He gets a big. They empty the net. Vegas empties the net. Big block on a Hannafin slapper, and I mean, you know how hard those are. So he was in some discomfort, and about 15 seconds later, clears it all the way down for the empty net. So good job, Hints. Um, yeah. I need to talk more about the physicality. I totally forgot about this. There was one point in the game where McNabb lit up Stankonen. I Stankoven. Yeah, I friggin' don't know how to pronounce these young players' names. He lights him up, goes flying. And Jamie Benn takes exception to that. Good job, Captain Ben. He comes in and lights up McNabb. It was quite a sequence. Try to find it. They kill each other. So yeah, when I said this game was physical, I mean like, jeez, this game was physical. Um, but yeah, back to the depth thing. Um, sorry. Ottinger 94% save percentage. So we finally got ourselves a goalie battle. Let's see if it extends into Dallas. Um, 8 forwards had 1 point in Dallas. So no doubles pointers. 8 forwards had one. Just to show you the depth of this damn team. As far as Vegas goes, only 5 of them did, which isn't bad. That's a pretty good spread, but it just yeah. Let's talk. Marcia Salt 7 shots on goal. Barbashev 1, Eichel 3. Rest of the team 23 total. So that's 11. So that's like a third of their shots are from one line. I mean, I thought it was going to be a higher percentage, but when you take into consideration defense and 3 other lines, that's a lot of shots for one line in the grand scheme of how many total shots you had on net. So yeah, those guys are going off. Barbashev also had 8 hits, so great game for Barbashev. Hurdle had 8 hits. Hurdle and Mantha. I don't even think Mantha dressed tonight. Hurdle's been quiet since the beginning. Stone has been pretty dang quiet since the beginning. Um, those are all things I accept. The Eichel line I have no problem with. They did not cheat their way in. And okay, fine. The Knights didn't cheat. However, they exploited a weakness in the NHL system. Eichel is not part of that. So the Eichel line we are perfectly fine with doing well. I would rather they not though, because I do want Dallas to win the series. Um, yeah, and the last thing I'll talk about here is the shot blocking for Dallas was very, very good. Thomas Harley had 5. Duchesne, Tanev, and Lindell all had 4. Um, yeah, everywhere on the ice. The Stars really, they didn't even control this game by that much, though. You know what I mean? It was still a 1 goal game up until the empty netter. But Dallas did all the right things. They won in a convincing fashion, and they know how to win close games. So hopefully, we see some more Dallas lines buzzing for Game 5 and see if they can find a defensive pairing that can put a stop to the Eichel. If I see the Eichel line out there, I want to see Hiskinen. I really do. Maybe put Tanev with him. Um, I definitely want to see how how they counter that line. And as far as Vegas's defense goes, I don't even know what you do. If all the lines are buzzing, how do you approach that? You can't just throw your best defenseman like Petrangelo and Theodore and stuff out on a specific line. because all the lines were doing very, very well. We got a fourth line goal tonight. Yeah. I'm gonna quickly talk about the Bruins just because I feel like it. We I really like this tonight. Win game one, lose game two, win game three and four on the road is exactly what led us to last year's conclusion. Um, so yeah, not good. In terms of that. 3-1 lead, good. But, a little still scary. Still scary. Um, so Brazo might come back. Andrew Peak and Patra. Do you remember that guy? They are skating again. Brazo and Forbert are apparently options for tonight. I just maybe throw in Brazo. I don't know who you take out though. Not Boquist, not Beecher. Um, JVR. I don't. It's a tough choice. It's a really tough choice. Maybe out of those guys, I'd take out Beecher. Boquist just has the speed. I would keep Boquist in. Brazo has such size and checking. I put him on a line with Maroon, or maybe spread him out. Probably spread them out actually, just so both lines have some big, heavy, big rig. I know that's Maroon's call. I just don't. Brazo's freaking huge. Um, they just have to be prepared. They have to be prepared for the Leafs to come out tonight angry. There's a lot of internal conflict going on with the Leafs right now. Matthews might not even play. Nylander and Marner were going at it on the bench. That can be either a really good thing for Boston or a really bad thing. Either they're going to come out swinging and it's going to propel them to try to overcome their demons, or it's going to cause more anger and poor interactions on the bench and screw them. I doubt there's any in between on that. So what the Bruins need to do is be prepared for a surge as the game begins. Um, Usually the Bruins are the ones who come out guns a blazing and then slow down as the game goes on. Leafs are going to come out guns a blazing tonight. We need to just maintain them, play maybe even play conservatively for the first bit of the game, and then see if you can work in a power play or try to get it up the ice and get an early one, and that will hopefully deflate them. That's what I'm hoping to see. So, series isn't over. How many? I think six of the series right now are 3-1. Not all of them are gonna end like that. And the Leafs, I mean, they got on paper they got the roster, so I could see them taking it. We'll just have to hold out and see. I want to see more from the bottom lines. I feel like that Beecher goal to start the playoffs was the only time I remember them scoring at least. I need more from Coyle. I need more from Zaka. Um, Defense has been good. Swayman has been excellent. I just need those guys to hold their own and just hope for a little more from those guys and maybe a nice little patented pasta one timer from the circle because we have missed that. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.